Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the place where you learn new skill every time you visit. So keep updating yourself by subscribing to the channel.
Okay, so this is question number two of the 2020 practical paper. Let's go through the question and try to understand what it is asking us to do. All right. So it says write a program to declare a matrix of m times n, where m is the number of rows and n is the number of columns, such that value of m must be greater. So first condition is value of m must be greater than zero. All right. Another one is uh, another condition you have to check it, and then n must be greater than 2 or less than 6. Okay, the value of the array has to be between 2 and 6. And then the numbers which are allowed inside is should be between 0 to 7. So there are three conditions which you need to check. One is m must be greater than 0 and less than 10. N must be between 20 and 6. And the number which you're inputting into the array or a matrix should be between 0 and 7. All right. And then suppose this is the matrix, then you have to convert, assuming that this is a octal number, you have to convert its decimal equivalent, like the digit multiplied by 8 to the power 2 plus the next digit multiplied by 8 to the power 1, then the next digit multiplied by 8 to the power 0, and then you add up all of them, it becomes 153. All right. So when you give the output, when you get the output, let's look over here. 3 into 4 is the dimension. You got the full input from the user. And then while printing it out, you have to print the matrix. And then in front of every row, you need to print a decimal equivalent value of that particular row. For example, here 1137, the decimal equivalent of the octal number, which this row is representing, is 607. For 2106, it is 1094, and for 0245, it is 165. All right. So now let's go to the Blue Jay and see how we can solve this question. So I'll go on to the Blue Jay. The first thing is I need to check the validity, right? The validity of the rows and column, and the main points over here is first is validity, and next is converting it into a function. Okay, checking octal to decimal equivalent. So we'll create a function int oct to deci, and this oct to deci will take the digit. The digit means the particular element for that array. Okay, the digit which is happens to be the digit of the number, and the power. All right, now power, as I showed you, keeps on decreasing. All right, so next thing, I'll take a variable here, say answer or convert, whatever name you want to give, and this convert is going to use the formula, the octal to decimal formula, which says the digit multiplied by math.power of the digit, not this, sorry, 8 raised to the power pw. All right. So this is the formula which is used, which we have to use to convert every octal number to its decimal equivalent. But now since this particular function is going to give you a decimal and the conversion is an integer, so we need to typecast it. So I'll just typecast it so it becomes integer. And then whatever has been come to us, I will just return it back to the calling function. So we'll say return the value which is calculated is being returned. All right. Okay, so this function is done. And now we have to go to main. The first thing is to input the values of m and n. All right. So let's take the variables m and n for the rows and columns. And we need an array also by the name mat. We'll put the dimension as we get from the user. Right. So what I'll do is now I'll ask for the dimension from the user. Right. I'll quickly do that. So first, we have to check the validity of the rows and column. In this question, it's actually better idea to break it up into small steps and then do it. The reason being, you also grow in confidence once you do a part of it, that at least this part is done for you, and it doesn't happen that at the end of the doing the full program and at the end of the 1.5 hours or 2 hours, you come to know your code is not working, then you panic. That should not happen, right? So we got the rows, and similarly, I'll get the column. I'll just copy paste this code set and make changes. So next is for n. Okay. So first we'll check the invalid case of the row and for the column. And if that arises, we should exit the code. So, or out of range, we can call it. Invalid of rows and column means out of range. So if my m happens to be less than 0, or my m happens to be more than 10, or, okay, I'll take them in a separate bracket, and then I'll do for the columns. Or my n happens to be less than equals to 2, or my n, capital M rather, happens to be more than 6. Okay, in all these conditions, it's an out of range message and program shall end. System.out.print, new line, out of range, and my program shall end. I am writing the messages in capital letter because the question also prints in that way, out of range. Although it does not matter. System dot exit. Okay, your program will end now. So we have checked one case of validity of out of range. Now another case of validity is if the number is uh, between 1 and 7. That we'll check when we take the input. Now we have to take the input of the rows and columns. Now the if it doesn't goes here, that means it is a valid. So if it's a valid, let's assign the rows and columns to a matrix. So new int m n. All right. So if it's a valid, we have assigned the rows and column to a matrix. Now we'll take the input by running two loops in i's and j. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. So we'll run two loops over here. The I will go from 0 till m, and j will go from, I'll just copy the same setting. J will go from 0 till n. So this is j, this will go to n and increases by 1. Alright. You have to be very careful when you copy paste a loop actually. Sometimes you make changes here and you don't make changes over here. That goes for an infinite kind of thing, and you are just looking here and there. So be careful when you copy. Do not try to do copy paste. I'm doing it because otherwise it will become too long. All right, very long. All right. So j equals 0, j less than equal to j, j plus plus. All right. Now, as in the question, they have asked that. I'll take you to the question. See the way they are asking. Enter elements for row 1. Then enter elements for row 2 and row 3, and then in front of it that value is being asked. So that means before every row, before the process of taking the elements of row starts, you have to throw a message, enter elements for row 1, 2, and 3. So that message will come here, and all the messages in capital letter. So I'll try to follow the same case. So it says enter elements for row, and then the row number. Now my row number is going to be I plus 1. I starts from 0. The row will start from 1 onwards. So I got that message, and now I'll take the input into the matrix. So my matrix element is mat ij. That's the general term representing a matrix element, m equals to sc dot next int.
Now here I have to check for the validity of that number which is input. So that should be between 0 and 7. So what we'll do, if my mat ij is less than 0 or mat ij is more than 7, then that's an invalid case. Okay, invalid entry we can say. Let me exactly see what message they are throwing for that. I think they are throwing invalid input here in the last case, example 3. So invalid input. So I'll just say print the message invalid input, and then again the input, and then again the program will end. So invalid input, and then again my program will end. All right. So I have taken the input so far here, and if it is an invalid input, it gives a message and ends up. Right. Now we'll go to the next part of it by calling the function. Right. Okay. So to call the function, I need this loops again. This set of load. Let me just quickly copy it. I need I would need j also, and inside that only I have to call the function because every element of that matrix is to be accessed and passed to the function, uh, and then the calculation is to be done. Now here I'll call the function. Now I'll call the function since the function needs, let me go to the function, it's octodec is the name. It needs two parameters, the digit and the power. Now the digit here is the matrix element, the element of the matrix is the value of digit, and power is the power which is raised over there. Now if you go to the question and observe over here, we see that the power, if I look at this particular first example they have given, the 2 is raised to the power, uh, 2 is multiplied and 8 raised to the power 2, then 3 is multiplied and 8 raised to the power 1. So the power keeps on decreasing, right? Number of columns are 3 and the power starts from 2. So that means a power has a relation with number of columns. So the power is starts from 1 less than the number of columns. All right. So I'll go to the code now, and I'll take a variable over here, and this function also returns the converted value. So I would need some variable which will hold the value which has been returned back. So I would need few more variables over here. I need a variable which will hold the uh, DASI equivalent, which will handle my power. All right, this variable I would require. So I'll just take this variable, and every time when I start calling the function, the power shall be reset to n minus 1, 1 less than the column. All right. And then here inside the I and the j loop, I will call that function. And I will call that function, and the function, whatever value it returns, that goes to the DASI equivalent. All right. So DASI equivalent is equals to whatever value the function will return. And the name of the function is octDASI. So I'll call that octDASI, and I'll send the matrix element ij and the power. All right. Now the value which has been returned, you just don't have to store it, you have to add it up. Okay. So this particular statement will slightly change, where whatever is returned from the function is being added, accumulated to the same variable DASI equivalent. Right. That makes sense. And then the power also has to be reduced, because next time the power shall go by 1 less. All right. Okay. So now while printing, you just have to print the every element of the matrix, and at the end of that particular row or the j loop, because horizontal is j loop, you have to print the decimal equivalent of that also. Let's do that now in the code. So yeah, so I'll print the matrix element here. I'll just use this message to print. Just the printing message from here. I'll copy it. I'll paste it here. /t, because it's a matrix element to be printed, should be formatted. So mat ij, and then at the end of the j loop, where the j loop is ending, where you have to give new line also, you have to print the element itself, the decimal equivalent. All right, with a little space, I'll print the decimal equivalent, deci equi. All right, then I can say /n. So the new line will also happen for the formatting of the matrix. And then my deci equivalence should be reset to 0. Why? Because for the next row, it shall start from fresh. All right, we compile and check. Yeah, it's without an error. So let's quickly run it. Uh, Here I created an object and now I'll run it. So let me switch on over between the question and the input output so that I can check all the things. All right. All right. So here it first example says you have to input 1 and 3, M and N, and then the row and the value of the row is 144. Let's try that. So 1, 3, and 1, 4, 4. So it gives me 100. Let me check. Yeah, it is decimal equivalent is 100. So what we are missing out is the heading over on the top. So I'll just quickly give that heading also so that the output becomes perfect. Okay, so let me just clear the screen and go to the code. So on the top of this, I need to print that two messages saying the decimal equivalence and all those things. The message is filled matrix and decimal equivalent. Filled matrix and then /t decimal equivalent. All right, now let's compile it again and run it. So here it goes. Here it goes. So I'll do the same thing again. So same input I'll give. It's 1 and 3, 1, 3, and then 1, 4, 4 is the elements. 1, 4, 4. Okay, it's perfect, but it needs to be on the next line. So I'll do that. So this has to be a new line. Here, I'll keep a new line. That's it. Okay, let me clear the screen and just run it once again quickly. The video has become too long. Okay, so 1 and 3 and then 1, 4, 4. Yeah, 1 and 3, 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 4, 4. Yeah, it's perfect, 100. Now let's go for the next example. Next example is 3, 4 is the input. So let me run it again. 3, 4 is the input. 3, 4, and then the values are 1137, 2106, 1137, 2106. The last one is 0245, 0245. 607 1094 165. Let me check it. 607 1094 165. Correct. The third example says 33 and values are 248. So I'll run it once again. So M and N are 3, 3, and the values are 2, 4, 8. So it says invalid input. Yes, it is invalid input in that case. Last one is 4, 6. All right, so I'll run it last time. 4, 6. Out of range. Correct, that's out of range case. All right, so that's all with this question, and the next video I'll do the third question of this practical, and this series will keep on continuing as and when I get the time, and I'll share the code with you. Thank you for giving your time. Please do subscribe to the channel because it takes a lot of time to make these videos.
If you are new to the channel, please subscribe it. Also press the bell notification so that you get notification as soon as I release a new video. Share and like the video.